All right, Neil, thank you so much for joining today. And thank you for your time. If you wouldn't mind kicking us off and tell us a little bit about yourself and your business.
Sure. I'm a general contractor in Nashville, Tennessee. Vesta Homes LLC is the name of the company. We do majority remodels and additions, and then we throw in some screened-in porches and kitchens and bathrooms as well. So at the moment, we don't do any new construction.
Great, thank you. And I know that you had been listening to and working with Todd through the mastermind group before you joined this program. But was there a specific problem that you had that led you to finally take that leap and decide to join this program?
I think the realization of with growth and when you're on your own, you kind of realize, or you don't need systems, and then you realize as you either want to grow or grow by default that it doesn't work when it's all in your head. So making it kind of a scalable business with systems in place is really where I first, and I bounced around from different guys, different podcasts, and really liked Todd's approach to building the system. So that's really what got me on the Todd bandwagon. And then from there, he kind of opened my eyes to some stuff I didn't realize that I needed at the time. For instance, charging for estimates and that sort of thing. So, and from there, it kind of snowballed into more and more.
Very good. So it kind of opened your eyes to a few problems, if you will, that you didn't even know that you had, maybe.
Right. Yes.
Okay. Very good. And what did that frustration feel like for you back then, before you joined this?
I think it was a little bit of ignorance is bliss, like if you don't know, if you don't know any better, then you're not really missing it. However, once I got a taste of and listening to the guys that had built it in, I mean, how much better it could be is more how it evolved. And then, I think for anybody that's, like I said, I started with the get paid for estimates. I mean, the first one that I did, there was hesitancy of there's no way, right? There's no way this is going to fly.
Yeah.
And now, depending on what the scope of the pre-construction services is, I mean, I'll get approved for ones that are $10,000. So of course, they're getting $10,000 worth of stuff. It's not just $10,000, but just how far that's kind of come and how much, once you realize that it works, then you just keep following through on more and more.
Yeah, that was a pretty big win for you right off the bat. Once you went through that bonus course and started implementing it, you had some success right away. That was really cool to get to follow you on that part of your journey.
Yeah, sure. And the team as well. I mean, the team was really excited about that because my designer, we do a lot of everybody in construction. There's a lot of, I don't want to say time wasted, but there's time taking where you're trying to help people figure stuff out for free. And I get it. That's part of it. You're never going to capture all of that, but realizing that we could actually capture a lot of that on the front end and be paid for it only makes sense. And so everyone was excited about that.
Yeah, that's really great. I think you also were able to capitalize on that. You rode that wave of excitement and energy within your team and were able to accomplish and put together a lot of things through this program, which this might actually answer this question here, but take us to the moment when you realized that the work you were doing and the things that you were learning in this program, it was actually going to work to help solve some of your problems.
I think even heading into this program, I didn't realize how much, team involvement it would improve. I think I looked at it more as it was improving me, improving my system, and then we would work on the team, right? But somewhere around I think it was the nail the handoff is really where you get everybody involved. And at first you're like, well, what are they going to think about this? They're going to, we're going to come to this conference room and stick a bunch of Post-its on the wall. Are they going to make fun of this and just, not tune in or whatever? But they really, once I explained it to them, and of course they watched Todd's video as well, explaining how you go through the process. That's really where it all came together, and everyone got excited about. Now, granted, we still have a lot of work to do past pre-construction. But we've basically nailed pre-construction down how we want to do it in the company, and implementing it quickly, because the faster you implement it, the less problems you have that we that we're currently dealing with not having all the answers before we head into construction. So that was the main thing. And then creating that this is how we do it process, kind of led into the different parts of the leadership systems as well, where just kind of defining all these roles and not trying to micromanage necessarily, but have clear expectations and roles. And it's really helping us not only weed through who's here, but also drive a better systematic process for the homeowners, which is our ultimate goal, is to make our process smoother for the homeowners as well as us versus competition that may be a little bit more disorganized. And the less organized it is and the more chaos, the less enjoyable it's going to be for all of us.
Right. A couple of things that you said there, Neil. First and foremost is that you pulled your team together, you went through this whole process, and then you went straight to work to get it implemented. You already have this in place by the end of this program. Of course, there's still some refinement to be done, but that's already drastically shifted your business for you, is having that in place and already starting to see the difference that it's making, not only for you and your team, but also for your customers, which is huge. And so that might be one of the things that you could share a little bit, is how are things different for you and your team? How are things different now for your customers, now that you've had a chance to do that and you've already started implementing this?
Well, there's multiple examples of that. A quick one, I guess, like the next few projects coming up, our pre-construction is already complete. So we have all our selections done before I've even made a site visit. So we have drawings, selections, and then I'm going to go out there, look at the site, which is a remodel, but I'll be able to take these selections and then look at what they want and say, is this going to work or not? What are the problems do we see here or there, versus, going in there and saying, oh yeah, we can do all this, but not knowing what selections we have going in here. So how can you really say that?
Yeah.
And then another big one is really, I think we all struggle a little bit with employees, and not really knowing for sure, like, are they working out? Are they doing their job? Even I, as an employee at one time, was told by my boss, I don't really know if you're doing a good job or not. I don't really know how to measure that or give you a bonus. I mean, you're doing your job, but how do I how is it measurable? Where now we have, because of this is how we do it, we have daily expectations, weekly expectations, things that have to be done before our weekly meeting. If those things are not done, then obviously you're not doing your job well. So able to note that and plan accordingly for future employment needs.
Yeah. And what I loved about that is this isn't about micromanaging at all. These tools and these systems and these expectations are to create greater success for everyone in the company. And that's really what this is all about. But to your point, unless we have some of these checks and balances in place, it's really hard to know how someone's performing and how the experience is going, not only for our external customers, but our internal. So that's another really great benefit. Thank you for pointing that out, Neil. Tell me, last question for you before we wrap up. What would you say was the most impactful part of the SYCB program for you?
For me, I think the biggest and probably the last thing I really expected going into this was the leadership system in a way. I think for me, like the leadership system kind of, it pulls from this is how we do it, as well as just the different expectations that are set for your employees, kind of all come together and help as a whole your leadership become stronger. And I feel like it's less about, we need to get this done, how can we get this done, who's going to do it? And now it's smoothed out and it's more, this is your job and this is your job, and if this is not done, then it's on you, so and so or so and so over here. Where in the past it was more about, we have this problem, who's going to solve it, and now it's more defined. And so for me, I think that sounds really simple, but at the same time, you don't really realize that you're not at that point until you see it the way kind of that this system or this course spills it all out for you and helps you create that in a higher level. So for me, that it was not the most difficult of the course. I guess I didn't realize how much I needed it until I came across it and then started implementing it and continue to implement. And so it's been enjoyable.
And it sounds like, and really it's designed this way. Each of these pieces builds upon the last one, to where at the end you kind of have this well documented and well defined business plan. You've got the systems in place.
Yes.
And one thing I really like that you mentioned, I think this really comes back to awareness is the first step to change, because sometimes we don't know there's something that we need to either change or implement or create that will make our lives so much better. And I think that is a lot of awareness happens in this program as well. There's probably a few aha moments that you came across and that now you've implemented, and it's made a big difference for you. Definitely.
Yes.
Well, thank you for sharing that, Neil. Is there anything else you want to share?
You were a great facilitator and definitely helped encourage us along the way. I think it can be overwhelming at times, especially with all the other stuff we have going on in our lives. But the encouragement to keep pushing through, and then as well with Manish's kind of real world examples, or his personal examples of having gone through it. It was a great combination of just keep pushing through. And then, in the end, a lot of these things, I didn't have a lot of time. I didn't feel like I was putting in as much time as I wanted to before I submitted them, right? But just getting it started and getting the wheels rolling. And then I'm looking forward to really going back and revisiting it as often as possible to fine tune and make it better. I think it's been better than I thought it was going to be. Even though I had high expectations and took a little extra coaxing from Todd to get me signed up for this, but it's definitely been well worth it.
Awesome. Well, we of course are happy to hear that. And I love that you mentioned that everything isn't completely perfect and done and totally implemented in your business, because it's not meant to be by the end of this program. But what you do have now is you have all the technical knowledge and all of the tools, and then of course the continuing support from the coaches to continue to implement this and to refine, and your business is just going to get better and better as you continue to move through. So really good stuff. Thank you, Neil. It was, of course, was a pleasure for us to be able to work with you as well and to see your progress. You've done a lot of great things in a short amount of time. So kudos to you.
Thank you.